Hey guys, welcome back to Waddler's Cabin, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this really cool Cars movie cake. So I made this cake for my 3-year-old cousin, and hopefully you make it too. So I used a cake mix for this because it was easier and there was so much cake to make. So here I am just making it and pouring it into separate bowls because here's a surprise, it's a rainbow cake. So here we go. I got some Wilton gel food colour and made the batter into 6 different bowls, so it's all coloured like purple, green, red, blue and everything. And I also got a really cool cake tin that was in the shape of a car. Since it was a Cars movie, here we go, it was a Cars movie themed birthday party, so it was a total surprise, this cake. My cousin asked me to make just a plain round cake but make sure it was rainbow because she liked my other rainbow cakes. But I completely surprised her and made it a Lightning McQueen cake, and everyone at the party loved it. It was amazing. So here it is out the tin, and it actually took 3 hours to make, considering it was only meant to bake for 20 minutes. So here I am making the wheels. I just rolled out some black icing so it was long enough for an Oreo to wrap around it. Pretty simple really, not too thick, not too thin, just so it will, go round but not poke through. Sandwiched 2 Oreos together with some chocolate icing, and of course put icing on there so it stuck. Pushed it round and squished one side in, and then made a circle out of red icing, cut it round the Oreo. Pretty self-explanatory, but so yeah, I cut it round the Oreo, stuck it in, and then just made little balls of fondant for like the tyres, and just make sure it was nice and round and looked like the tyre as well. And I also had a Cars movie toy as a reference, and it was a toy that I had when I was little, and it still had it today, and it was really great because it was about the same size as the actual cake. And here I am making a wheel. This one went slightly better as I already did it once the first time, so you kind of get into how to make it. If you make a mistake, you've got plenty of icing, just move along. See there, I made it a bit too big, so I just sliced it off. And here I am making the hubcaps again. And when I did that, I had Oreo printed on it, so I had to turn it around to the flat side. So if you do that, you do get crumbs on the Oreo, but I didn't have a round cookie cutter, so I couldn't, make a perfect circle, so I just had to cut around the Oreo. But it worked pretty well, and it looked really good at the end result. So right now, I'm just scooping out like wheel arches, I guess, because if I stuck the wheels on how it was, it would be too far out. And I just used the cake leveler to, flatten the cake, level it out, put some nice chocolate icing in, and then made sure it was all flat, and then covered the whole thing. It's called a crumb coat. So just crumb coated it, used my cake scraper to flatten it out, because if there's any bumps or lumps, it will show under the red icing, which I'm rolling out now. So this icing, I only had just enough. Oh, right here, this is important. That white bit, you have to cut it out and put it before the red, and then cut a smile so it looks like the real car. Because if you just stick it on, it doesn't look as realistic, and I find it looks much better if you put a bit of white icing before your red icing and just cut a smile out of it. So here you go. There's it all covered in red icing, and it looks really cool. And right now you can kind of see it coming together, so I'm just sticking the wheels on with a bit more icing in there. And now I'm just making the windscreen, so again you don't want it too thick, and I just use some water, that's why it's a bit shiny up there, to stick it on. Then you just have to cut and shape it around to what you like. And I forgot to film the next bit. I was just so into making the cake. I thought the camera was rolling, but it wasn't, so I've missed out making the lightning and everything. So here it is. It's just, I cut out all the lightning pieces and just the details, which is pretty self-explanatory if you want to do it yourself. And it says Austin on the front because that's the name of the boy I made it for. And here we go, it's a really cool cake, and I really hope you make it. It was so fun to make, although it did take all day, probably about 8 hours in total. Then I just finished it off on a nice cake board with a checkered line, so it looks like Lightning McQueen's going over it. And yeah, everyone at the party loved it, and because it was rainbow inside, it looks so cool. And I'll show some pictures at the end. So thanks for watching, and hopefully you make it, and if you do, send me a pic at Waddler's Cabin on Instagram.